The Becoming a Modern Man video. We are playing Grixis Death Shadow, and this time we are playing against Eldrazi Tron. So this is our opener. We have Thoughtscour, Death Shadow, Tasigur, Client's Command, Thoughtseize, and a Snapcaster Mage. Kind of a risky keep as a one-lander. We may never draw into that second land, otherwise it is good, but I think we may have to mulligan this. So we end up mulliganing. This hand is way worse, and I wish I would have kept the original hand, I think. I believe I end up keeping this, but I think potentially that should have been a mulligan. We see a Thoughtscour on top, so hopefully that can draw us into something, but I think this is a very sketchy keep. In all honesty, opponent leads off with Urza's Tower and a Relic. Just going to pass the turn, looking to Thoughtscour, end of turn. A Walking Ballista for 1, so not terribly scary. Fortunately, Delta into Thoughtscour, which signs us a Street Wraith. We get a little bit more action here. We've got Client's Command, which could be good against him, depending on what artifacts he's going to play out. Can kill a Chalice, avoid as well. And we're also able to Serum Visions here. Unfortunately, not really finding anything particularly useful. So I think we're going to bottom that, and I guess we bottom the Street Wraith as well. I don't think we particularly want draw it. Will draw us a little bit deeper, but I think our life total is suitably low, and we don't really want to be looking at lowering it too much further. Put a Thought Not Seer, which is going to be able to take away this Terminate. So things are definitely not looking good for us. I think really this game came down to that fairly poor mulligan. So we Thoughtscour there into Inquisition, and unfortunately our opponent's cards are a Reality Smasher and a couple of lands. The Reality Smasher, which is going to be able to be played this turn. And the opponent's going to be able to attack us for 9 here, so unlikely that we're going to be able to find a way back from this. Death Shadow comes off the top, which obviously is a very sizable 11/11, but we can't actually do anything to kill his Thought Not Seer, so that wraps up game 1, unfortunately. So let's move on to game 2. Okay, so this opener is certainly better than our last one. We've got Street Wraith, Serum Visions, Terminate, and a Tasigur. I think that's all looks pretty good to me. Lead off with the Delta. I should have led off with the Mire actually. Polluted Delta is the better fetch of the fetches, because it can fetch either of your basics. So yeah, just a sort of word on sequencing, I should have played the Mire there first rather than the Polluted Delta. It's not going to make a huge difference a lot of the time, but when it does, I think it's worth looking into. So we Serum Visions, we see Thoughtscour and Fatal Push, both potentially useful. I can't remember exactly how we sequenced the cards, but Thoughtscour obviously good at powering up this this Tasigur. And Fatal Push might be useful as well as a way to kill his Eldrazi. We've got lots of fetches to make sure we can get the Revolt trigger. So yeah, we kept both on top there. We draw the Fatal Push, Street Wraith to draw into the Thoughtscour. Then we're going to Thoughtscour, and then we're going to be able to cast our Tasigur here. Nice and early. So yeah, we get to drop a turn 2 Tasigur. Opponent plays Chalice on 1, which is pretty brutal. A lot of our deck is 1 mana spells, and it turns off basically 2 of the cards in our hand. We still got Terminate to go, but yeah, it makes our life very difficult. Client's Command is really the only card that we've got that can deal with the Chalice, so we're kind of hoping to draw that, but we can't play any of our draw spells, so we're stuck with 2 Serum Visions in hand that we can't use. It's kind of annoying. Our opponent's going to play Hangerback or Walker, which is a good blocker here. We're still going to try and get in and kill our opponent if possible, but Things are definitely not looking good for us. We've drawn a lot of 1-mana spells. Then drops Wormcoil Engine, which is pretty awful for us. Use Liliana to -2. It's kind of the best thing we can do with it. And our opponent ends up casting all of Dust, which finished it off. So yeah, it wasn't an overly competitive game, unfortunately, or match, I guess. But I didn't want to be accused of not showing us playing against the sort of top tier decks. Yeah, I think game 1 really came down to a bad keep in terms of our hand, and game 2 really came down to being locked under this Chalice. I think might have been able to wrap up the game otherwise, but the Chalice just really locked us down and we just couldn't find an answer in time. So definitely a card to look out for when you're playing against these Eldrazi decks.